So, hello and welcome. My name's Steve Nobel, and today I'm speaking with Meg Benedicte on Ascension, becoming a divine human being. Now, Meg is a pioneer in quantum healing and sacred geometry, and she experienced a profound awakening in 1994 during the Northridge earthquake in Los Angeles. During this time, Meg experienced a spontaneous kundalini activation that opened her energy body to accept an angelic soul walk-in, which was a feminine aspect of Archangel Metatron. This experience was life transforming, as you can imagine, and as Meg discovered through the guidance and wisdom of Metatron, the magnitude of change possible in this time of ascension, Meg has created an original and powerful healing approach known as Quantum Access, and her website is newearthcentral.com. There will be a link going out with this podcast. So, hi Meg.
Hi Steve. Oh, it's great to be here with you on your show.
Oh, I'm so glad you've joined me. Your name's been bouncing around, for a while. I thought I must get hold of Meg and chat to Meg and find out, because I have these wonderful one-to-one chats, which is a great privilege. Now, I just want to ask you, your journey of awakening in 1994 opened you to a soul walk-in. Can you just say something about that experience?
Yeah, so it was in the middle of the night, and the earthquake hit, and everything's flying off the walls, and it felt literally like I was on a bucking bronco. I'm just shaking and lightning bolts through the body, and immediately knew something just happened that I don't even know how to explain because I wasn't a spiritual person before then. But through the hours after the earthquake and the aftershocks, more coming in. And so basically the kundalini shot through my biocircuitry, kind of blew it all open. And then a new soul came in. And this has been challenging and also illuminating, because in a way for a while I was a dual soul and had to start to immediately work on the ascension process. So my soul that came in already understands the ascension process and what are the steps to do, and so it was like from day one, boom, just hit the floor running on this. And immediately knew we have to get prepared for 2012, so that was almost 20 years later, but it was like my mind just kind of went zoom and focused right onto 2012, and it's like, all right, you got work to do to get ready for that. And it was a slow, gradual absorption of the angelic soul that came in and beginning to help the prior soul, or I call it the host soul, to work through the karma and help her transition. Now, at this point in time, I've taken completely over the body and the timeline and converting the genetics, and it's quite an extensive reformatting basically of the genetics and the psyche and all of that. So I, in a way, don't recommend an immediate kundalini activation like that. It's too much for most people. You could really damage your body, but I guess it was guided by Metatron through the process, and the whole my whole blueprint really is only to be here during this ascension time and to support people through it and support the grids and the earth plane through it. And so that's what's been kind of absorbing my life since then.
Yeah, can you say, what was the shift like? I mean, I guess before 94 you were living, as you say, an ordinary life, and then suddenly everything's ascension. That's quite a dramatic shift for your family and friends, I guess. Very
disorienting, and I really, you no longer have any resonance with anybody prior to that activation. So I was engaged, so of course that ended, and I began to pull away from my family because they were really polarized, and I kept hearing from my higher self, how long are you going to let everyone keep dropping your vibration and stopping your ascension? You need to start to kind of pull within. And so I became much more solitary, meditating a lot, and just listening and tuning inwards. It was a completely different way of living. Immediately started cleaning up my diet. I had never meditated in my life, so it was all a whole new practice. Started going and getting acupuncture, really began to learn that I needed to ground my body to the light grid. So it was a complete overhaul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the big question is, what do you believe is happening now on planet Earth in terms of ascension?
Well, right now, this year, of course, has been incredible because it is an 11-year of soul mastery. And so we had those powerful eclipses during the mid-year, during the summer here. And
they were tough, I thought.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll tell you. And I'm actually a Leo, so I have 3 planets in Leo. So the Leo eclipses have just been hammering me.
Yeah.
but they're blowing open so much. It's like I see that it's revealing where we have any imbalances within ourself and in our society. And of course, we're seeing this show up outside in society, triggering any hidden trauma that needs to be healed and cleared. It's also helping to transform the patriarchal system. So we're seeing a lot of that showing up, not only in ourselves. You could have past life of persecution or that kind of thing that needs to get healed and cleared, that trauma coming out. So it's a lot of, being that the eclipses are on the Leo Aquarius axis, it's all about revealing any kind of like power struggles that you may have, or abuse of power, not feeling empowered. This is really big right now to heal, and of course, to me, the Ascension process really is about soul empowerment, soul embodiment. So it's helping clear these imbalances within our energy field, so we can embody our soul presence, and of course, really balancing anywhere we're deficient in the divine feminine energies. This is, of course, getting much more present on the planet and in our own field. So that's kind of what the overall of what this year is about. I see we just had this Libra equinox, so again, that's about balancing. So we're still trying to balance our masculine and feminine energies and bring them more into a union and harmony. And these Stargate events, like we have coming up, a very powerful Stargate in a couple weeks on 11/11/11, and then we also have 12/12 and 12/21, and then we have 2 eclipses in January. So the next 3 months are just going to be like boom, boom, boom. And when we have these Stargates open, we are receiving these powerful light infusion that is coming in from the galactic sun, gamma photon light, crystalline light coming in, and this. It not only does it increase our energy frequency, but it kind of helps purge out that lower dense consciousness, and so you might feel like you're purging. I sure have been this year.
Oh, yeah.
But the real key is to get the balance and harmony and union of the masculine and feminine in the heart, because the heart is the center of the Merkaba light body, and so we need that established in a neutral, harmonious state to be able to go further with activating our light body.
Now, all this is kind of pushing us towards becoming a divine human being, which is part of the title. What does it mean for those listening who don't understand the concept to become a divine human being?
Well, when I first activated it opened up my mind to be able to kind of time travel and be able to drop into other incarnations. And one of the earliest incarnations that I've been able to drop into was in Lemuria, and then also in what's called Zep-Tepi, Egypt. And this is, of course, thousands and thousands of years ago, is the original civilization in Egypt. And when I looked at the humans, and these were like a new race, they're been like star beings coming and seeding this human race, and they didn't look like this. I mean, they were more of a very fluid, morphing field of consciousness. So in a sense, they weren't as solid and dense as we are. They immediately responded to consciousness, and so whatever they were able to envision and intend, they were able to manifest. They were like instant creators, instant manifestors. And from that point to now, boy, have we changed, and we've been, even our DNA has been mutated into just the double helix of duality, and so we're locked in. And so this is where I feel this whole kind of just miraculous process we're in is unlocking that dual spin, the duality lockdown, unlocking from the matrix controlling program in the mind, and be able to start to get light into the cells, be able to activate that kind of fluid morphing light body, where we're living really truly as instantaneous creator beings. So that's where I feel we're moving towards. But of course, to do this, we have to embody the soul presence. And so what I began to realize as I started on my own process after the activation was when I would tune into either my own soul or working with clients, I would tune into their soul. It was always in the aura. I was like, why is our souls in the aura? Shouldn't they be in the body? And so I had to go in and go, what's pushing the soul out of the body? And there's a couple of things. One is we've become way too dense, like we're kind of like solid, like a rock. Two, we're too polarized. So we have this kind of push-pull opposition in our field because we're living in a polarized planet. So it's pushing the soul out as well. So we're having to go in and kind of recode ourselves and reform ourselves into moving from dual spin, duality, to single spin, singularity, and being able to hold that real harmonious, neutral energy. It's called 0 point energy. Hold that in our core and our hearts, the center of our Merkaba, so the soul pulls in. So that's where, when we can embody our divine self, we become a divine human.
Now, it seems to me that a lot of people have been waking up, those who are due to wake up spiritually, between kind of 2016, 17, 18, maybe as far as 19. So a lot of people seem to be waking up now. This is my experience. What advice do you give to those newly awakening who kind of go, one reality to another, all the morphing going on in the body, the kind of caterpillar to butterfly type of thing? What would you say to those?
Well, it's exciting, but it's also challenging. Because one of the things I noticed when I blew kind of open my field and started that morphing process was I was more living up in the higher realms. I wasn't very present in my body. So I recommend grounding, just to keep, get yourself outside. If you can get in nature, get your feet on the earth. If you can't get in nature, then visualize you're in nature and get your feet onto the light grid. I do it every morning. That ways then you're pulling your presence into your body. So think of it like you're bringing heaven down to earth. You're bringing your spirit, your divine soul, your presence into your body. So grounding is so important. I also recommend increasing your frequency, because if you're too dense, you're going to have trouble getting that soul in. So there's lifestyle changes you can make, which I'm sure they're all starting to think about, right? Pay attention to the energy you're bringing in. Is it really high, clean frequency? And that's where you kind of have to clean up your life around you. If there's really low vibration around you, or low vibe people or situations. I also recommend, and this is how I did it as well, is understand we're living in a holographic universe. So everything that you see out around you is literally mirroring back to you what's running inside you. So if you aren't happy with what's being shown to you, what you're experiencing, and that's what I did. I'm like, you know what? I have a money block. Okay, I need to go inside and see where I have any kind of lack consciousness running, or I seem to attract a lot of conflict with people. Okay, I need to turn in and see where I have that pattern running in me. And so in a way, I call it internal house cleaning. You watch what shows up, then you go inside and you deal with it, and you heal it, and you neutralize it, and you clear it. And that way then you're creating a pure vessel for the soul embodiment.
Now, my last question is, you've been very connected to Metatron, Archangel Metatron. Yes. What about the support we can expect from unseen friends in spirit, angelics, star races, guides? What can you say about that?
Well, we all have come in with a spirit team, and so you can start to ask them to be more present with you, make contact with you. I don't just kind of do an open-ended thing. I really stick to what is matching my soul frequency and my soul blueprint and my soul lineage and bloodline. I stick with what is already established, and that way then you're not opening your field to any kind of like trickster entities and such. So just call in what is of your own soul spirit team, And I think too, as you start to embody more of your soul presence, then you begin to feel the connection with them more. I see that just with my psychic eye, I see my angelic team all around me all the time. I talk to them all the time. So you can start to also, through your own unique soul signature, your soul frequency, connect to your soul family and your soul star system. It's through your signature, your frequency. That way, then you may not know the name of it or the origin of your star family, star system, but you can connect to it through, it's like a fingerprint. It's unique to you, your soul signature. And that way, then you begin to use your own magnetism to pull you to you and begin to have a relationship with them on this level, the human level. I talk to them all the time for guidance, for understanding, questions, and for just kind of keeping me on my path, in case I get distractions or, people wanting to do things with me that may have pulled me off my path. So you have to just, hold steady. In a way, I see our chakra pillar like an antenna tower. We're transmitter receivers. And so I tune my antennas inwards to my soul guidance and not so much out into the external world, because it's quite confusing and polarized out there.
Yeah.
So learn to tune in. I had to, this was funny, when I first had the kundalini activation, like I said, I'd never done any of this. So one of the first assignments I got was from my higher self was to stare at a candle flame every night. I had to do that for like 2 years because I couldn't even hold focus. That was really had to kind of train my mental muscle and get my right brain, my psychic brain more open and be able to tune in and be able to read energies and hold focus. And so it does take some practice and some training there. Spiritual practice, it's so important to be a part of your life. Yeah.
Now, Meg, I know you're offering a meditation. Could you just say briefly something on the theme of this meditation?
Yes. So when I began this process, I started getting guidance, and this came in through Saint Germain and Metatron, and they were saying, imagine you're drawing a circle and you're going to step in it, and it has 12 points, and it's going to start to spin, and you just keep spinning, and it's going to be a counterclockwise spiral, anticlockwise spiral. And so it's funny because I'm looking at your emblem here, and it's the Metatron's cube. And so I didn't realize at the beginning that it was Metatron's cube because I had no idea what that was. I had no reference point for that. So I just pictured the circle, the 12 points. I sat in the center, and I began to spin it. And over time, it helped unlock my own brain centers to understand more of how the sacred geometry works. And so what's embedded in Metatron's cube is the double star tetrahedron of the Merkaba. And so when you work with it, not only will it help you spin your energy faster, so you're increasing your frequency, it also helps open up the geometry of your light body. So the Merkaba is the geometry of the torus, T-O-R-U-S, the torus, which is the magnetic fields that spin around your body and aura that open you to the 12 dimensions of our universe. So by using this template of creation, Metatron's cube, you begin the transformation process within you, but it accelerates it. So it's a real powerful ascension tool. So I'll walk you guys through the steps to activate it. And it is so kind of universal in a way that you can use the vortex to spin energy out. Let's say you're clearing a pattern or some trauma. You can release the energy out of your field, out of your body, but you can also reverse it and spin the soul presence in. So I'll show you how to do that. This way then, not only are you increasing your frequency, you're clearing your field, it's trying to balance your field. So again, we're trying to balance feminine and masculine. And it's preparing that 0 point vacuum state inside you to pull the soul presence in. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so anytime I do this activation, I want to make sure that I'm actually grounded, because it is going to be vortex energy around you. So let's just take a couple deep breaths, and we're going to focus inwards now into the core center. Imagine you're just kind of moving into your heart and your solar plexus and into the breath. We're coming inside here in the core. And then also, we're using this right brain now. This is what we use to visualize. It's our psychic brain. So we're going to imagine that we're locking our feet chakras onto the crystalline light grid of our ascending earth. And they just lock like magnets, and then it allows us to be really grounded. And so that way then we can open up the vortex. So let's, from the heart center, so we're focusing inwards here into the core. From the heart we connect up to our source creator, and we connect to our divine God self, our oversoul presence. And let's, at this point, let's call in each of our spirit teams. This is your angels and guides. It could be ascended masters and teachers, could be a galactic councils, your soul family. We're just calling in the spirit team to surround us in like a circle of light beings. As we're setting up, also we can't create anything in this planetary field without nature. So let's connect to the nature spirits, the devas, and the elementals of air, fire, water, earth, and ether. And bring those in. So as we're setting up the sacred space, we're finally working with Archangel Metatron. He's going to embed the geometry template of Metatron's cube under your feet. There's the outer 6 circles, the inner 6 circles, and this 13th center circle. So we're putting our feet in the center. When we do this, it begins to activate it because your energy turns it on, and those 12 circles rise up as pillars of light around the body and aura, and they begin to tone with the 12 harmonic tones. We hear this as the tone of Om, and they begin to vibrate with Om, and they start to rotate anti-clockwise, right to left around the body and aura. And there it goes. So we just breathe into the spin momentum. It starts to pick up speed. This is a feminine vortex spin, so it's expanding outwards. It's radiating out, so it's kind of starting to open up like a V shape from your feet up and out. There we go. And as it's expanding, it's starting to spin us faster to unlock time compression, unlock density, unlock gravity. Ooh, there we go. And it opens us up to the quantum field, quantum level. And you just let yourself expand. There you go. And then this lets us enter into the energy body. So we're going to now focus inwards again and go right into the chakra channel, chakra pillar. It goes right up the center of the body. We're moving in with that spin momentum, anti-clockwise spin spiral. We'll start at the root and spiral all the way up the physical chakras. There's 7 in the body, past the crown into the transpersonal chakras, 5 above the head. So we're going all the way up to the top, 12th chakra. There we go, all the way up. And we're creating a clear open channel up to our higher self, up to our divine presence at the top. And I always make a connection, like a heart-to-heart connection with the higher self. It always looks like a beautiful light being, however you connect to your higher self. All right, we made it. And then opening up here at the 12th chakra is the Stargate into 13th dimension and higher. It looks like a crystalline doorway or portal. We're going to move through the gate into the field of light of the Godhead. So we're letting go of the physical field for a minute, and I'm going to allow yourself to move into this abundant universal field of light. It's the actual virtual particle field of electrons, so it's shimmering light. There we go. Everyone moving in. Imagine you're like kind of floating in this pool of light and letting yourself just blend in with all that is, all potential. This is the holographic, infinite universe, all possibilities. And I just let myself go. Just let yourself merge and blend. And then as we're reuniting with our abundant universe, there's no separation here. So there's no limits. So let's start to connect to our soul presence wherever we exist in the multiverse and all timelines, dimensions, planes of existence. And you're going to do it through your soul signature, through your unique soul frequency. And there we go. We start to link up through the quantum field, through non-locality. You just link immediately to where you exist in the universe. And then we're going to use the momentum of the spin of the vortex and start pulling divine presence, soul presence, to come back down the chakra channel. We're spiraling still anti-clockwise, but now breathing it down and in. So imagine if you're looking up your channel, you're this clear, open receiver, and breathing soul love, soul light deep down into your body, into your heart center. There it comes down and in. Comes in as golden light, and your sound waves, your tones, your soul harmonics. There you go. And I always imagine the heart center just like an open receiver, like an open container, just filling with soul presence. Breathe it in, spin it in, breathing in more soul consciousness, soul code, soul blueprint. And it's starting to activate in there, starting to populate in the core. We're breathing in more of our soul gifts and knowledge and mastery to come in from all time, all dimensions, all the way in. There we go. And what's starting to happen is it's building like a solar sun right there in your core, just even beyond the body, just pulsing with soul presence, soul light. And also the other thing that we want to do is neutralize any of this kind of chaos field polarity that's all around us right now. The polarity is actually getting more pronounced because we're moving towards singularity. So we want to establish singularity within us. So we're going to use the sacred geometry of the infinity figure eight of light. We'll start here back at the core center again, kind of in the upper belly, solar plexus heart area. We're going to run it horizontally, and it loops around the feminine energy on the left and over to the masculine on the right, and we're just weaving it back and forth, and it just starts to pull all our energy into that center point, into union and balance and harmony. Whew, there we go. And then we're going to release out any disharmony or negative polarized charge, and the vortex spins it out. Just lifts off the physical body, emotional body, mental body. There we go. We're releasing it into source light. Ooh, good release. And then we come back into our center of the infinity there in our core, and we're establishing a 0 point field. It's neutral. It's a vacuum state, and it helps pull more of your divine soul presence deep into the core center, deep into the body, into the heart. And it's able to pulse here inside you. I see it almost kind of like a strobe light. That's your singular pulse of the soul light, the soul presence in the center core of your being. And this is the center of the Merkaba. So as Metatron's cube is activating, it's opening up the geometry of the double star tetrahedron. So you have the upward facing tetrahedron, the downward facing tetrahedron, and right where they meet in the center is your singular pulse of your soul light. There we go. And that helps start to activate the Merkaba, where it begins to rotate with your vortex right to left, anti-clockwise. There it goes. I always feel it just kind of a gentle, slow rotation until you keep increasing your frequency. It can go faster then. But it's starting to activate the magnetic fields called the torus. And this way then what you are beginning to see, we're not using the brain at all here. We're leaving behind the left brain linear sequencing of duality, of time, of separation, and we're moving into the heart center in the singular soul pulse of light, and our own magnetism pulling in what matches our soul frequency, our soul vibration. So we're moving into more soul magnetism, heart magnetism, and this is a whole new operating system for us to live in as divine humans. And so we just allow this to rotate as it wants to. We focus that soul light building in our core and our heart, solar plexus area. It's called the order matrix inside us. It's bringing our feminine and masculine energies into union and balance and harmony. And it allows the divine self to come in and start to unite with the human self. And so when we are able to put all this together, we really start to live in what's called unity consciousness. And we just let that ripple through us. Unity consciousness. Living as one, living divine. And we just set that into motion now. And so it is.